What is up, Gorilla Nation, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. But if you would be so kind, please show some love to that like button. Also smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel, and don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Well, we're so very close to March the 3rd when Warlords of New York will finally drop. Now, I'm already pre-set and ready for the expectation of what lies ahead of us. Now, there are tons of speculation out there as far as what will be the new meta. And honestly, that's all it is basically pure speculation based on the actual evidence that we have been given. Now, this is just my opinion, but if you look at the new gear sets, as far as, well, not a new one, but an old one, a revamped one, I guess you could say, as far as Striker, as well as the others, there are some discrepancies and some complete front runners when it comes to what to expect and more or less what people will actually go for. The hype of Striker way back from Division 1 carrying over Division 2, I foresee a lot of people going for this set first. Now, in my personal opinion, I think you can forego the whole chest piece as far as getting the additional 50 stacks on it from 50 to 100, that you could probably keep it at 50 and still do just fine, and then kind of complement that with a different chest piece. And then as far as the weapon of choice they actually pair this with, I think it actually synergizes well with the actual Chameleon. And if you have a good one with good base damage, starting out at Warlords of New York, if you want to put together like a 4-piece Striker slash maybe a Berserk chest piece talent, and then of course the Chameleon, because since you're going to be hitting stacks anyways with Striker, then you might as well stack it up on the Chameleon as well, because if you land 60 body shots, then that is going to give you 100% weapon damage. And if you play Division 1, then typically right before a fight, you could actually go into landmarks and just kill roaming NPCs and, to kind of keep your stacks up. I foresee more or less the rock and roll named ACS-12 automatic shotgun, just like in Division 1, making a comeback as far as your secondary, but then your primary, I think you would actually go with the Chameleon, because like I said, you can go into those landmarks or roaming NPCs, work your stacks up, and then proceed to go into a battle when you only need to land a couple of shots to get 100% weapon damage on top of whatever stacks you're able to conserve before you enter into that gunfight. So if you put all that together, let's say you have a max of 50 stacks that you can, kind of keep that up because you have to land your shots anyways, and then if you stack that on top of the Chameleon, that's 150% weapon damage. Now, let's go hypothetical. Let's say you did pair that with a Berserk chest piece. As your armor is going down, you're getting damage on top of that. So let's say 20 or 30% more weapon damage from Berserk, and then 50 stacks of the Striker, along with 100% weapon damage from 60 stacks of hitting body shots with the Chameleon. That's almost 200% weapon damage. But now, since rolls are coming back, rolls are going to start to become a new thing. Well, I wouldn't say new into Division 2, which is there hasn't really been any rolls in squads. But if you pair that with a good skill build, maybe even hardwired, you can go with a technician and kind of like a little hybrid play per se, but more or less, the technician. And even with the new gear set, where you're getting that, 50% bonus armor every 20 seconds, you pair that with a skill build and, something with a really strong hive, then you can kind of see to where you can help your teammates, especially the one running the Striker build, help him stay alive so that way he can continually shred consistently, and he don't have to, worry about his heals per se, because the role of the healer in the group will, since he's not really dishing out that much damage, you can leave the damage up to the Striker player, just as in like Division 1, but as the healer, more or less cause distractions and keep those teammates alive, because those are your DPS. Now, as your secondary skill, you can use like a Seeker to, help disrupt other combatants as far as other squads or even NPCs per se, and get your damage off that way, but you're more or less going to be helping your team more by supplying them with the heals and let them deal with the DPS. Now, the second prediction, as far as it's a toss-up between the two, is those two gear sets. And since, there is no percentage armor, it's all based on baked-in armor on said pieces. So if you get really high baked-in armor on pieces, and then you have the 4-piece of the other gear set, I don't know exactly that name, hold one moment. Oh, had a brain fart, sorry. But System Corruption, the 2-piece bonuses give you a percentage of armor. It's 15% armor on kill. But mainly it's the other 4-piece talent that gives you that 50% bonus armor, every 20 seconds. So you don't have to think about hitting an armor kit as far as, being a skill build, right? You can be super tanky just from that 50% bonus armor, because even if your armor is all gone, you time it just right, you're going to get 50% of that armor, as a proc every 20 seconds to help your hive heals, kick in, or even if you have, other talents working in your favor as far as to regenerate your armor, as far as like armor regen. I can kind of see this going in the way of like kind of Nomad 3.0. Yes, I'm going to call it Nomad 3.0, just because of stacking all those pieces with baked in high armor values. And we already seen some screenshots to where this one particular build utilizing this new gear set had over 700k armor, and he only had 11,000 armor as a roll on this particular build. So if you kind of get pieces that have those max baked in armor values on them, pair them like with at least one of those armor rolls, and then you pair this along with that to get 50% bonus armor every 20 seconds. So it in essence turns that into 1 million of armor. Yes, 1 million armor. Essentially, if you're at full armor and 20 seconds rolls by, and then you get that stack of 50% armor on top of that, then yes, you're over 1 million in armor, and yet you have tons and tons of skill power, super heals. You're just basically a bullet sponge running interference for your team. And in conjunction with that striker, your heals and what little bit of, you can even probably run even double heals, and then just pretty much be a distraction, as most people do, just run your little figure 8 skating. And let some others be your DPS, but I can see this kind of being a 1-2 meta combo. So it's not just a foresee of like one particular build becoming the meta, or per se, just any build with one particular gun becoming a meta. Unlike the 3.11.7, it's going to become more of a combo meta as far as squad play. But also, you can kind of see the remnants of Nomad 3.0 if you really stack really high armor, because the Nomad in Division 1, it didn't really hit really hard, especially if you just was all out tank. So in retrospect of that, you spec into really high rolls of baked in armor on pieces, one armor roll, even though you're not going to be really hitting too hard with your weapons of choice, but you can seriously wear down, especially solo, other players, 1v1, because even though you're not hitting hard just like the Nomad of old, getting those procs every 20 seconds, you're going to be able to wear them out and wear them down and eventually take over the whole entire battle and come out on top. So it's kind of like reminiscent of per se that, and that's why I call it Nomad 3.0. But if you pair that with skill power, as well as the getting that bonus armor on top of that, and you can really see a 1-2 punch meta incoming as far as once we get to that level 40 mark of Warlords of New York. Like I said, it's March the 3rd. I can't wait, and this is just pure speculation, but if you look at actually the materials and think about the current game, think about the game of old, and the way squads and roles are actually working intertwined between one another, you can kind of foresee this creeping up, and when March 3rd gets here, it's going to be even more relevant. But you heard it here first, folks, that 1-2 combo between the strikers as well as the new gear set, the System Corruption being a good 1-2 combo, especially if it's just a matter of practicing with it, actually playing with it. Just like any build, you have to know the ins and outs, its flaws, its weaknesses, and its strengths. So when you pair it with something else, it kind of complements one another and can become a really huge force to be reckoned with when used right in conjunction with your teammates. So that way you kind of bounce off of one another, making each individual stronger, and then as a whole you can just dominate. But let me know what you think as far as what you think is what possibly could be the new meta, whether it be the Striker Chameleon combo along with maybe some crit chance sprinkled in there, and maybe a little berserk instead of the stack of 50 to 100. I can kind of see that, you don't have to get that many stacks. You can kind of compensate with things like berserk to get that extra damage, so that way you can forego the chest piece of the Striker and go with something else. So I really am interested and excited to see what I can come up with and what you guys have already thought of with all the information that is coming out as far as Warlords, that it is dropping on March the 3rd. I can't wait. I'm already theory crafting. I have my notes laying in front of me, and I just want to see what you guys think and what your kind of speculation is going on, what you think is going to be really good. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and support, and don't forget, I'll be streaming that Warlords of New York as soon as it drops, only here on the East Coast around 7:30 a.m. March the 3rd. So come out, have some laughs. If you're at work, I wouldn't say risk your job over it, but yeah, you got a smartphone, you can pull it out, watch the stream, at least come in, say hi, have a few laughs. Maybe if you're on lunch break, heck, you can even go to the bathroom and say you're taking a thumper dumper just to tune in and show your love and support for the game and what to expect when you finally get off work and able to hop on yourselves. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you pledging later.